I'm just sure that the vast majority of everybody is not really getting the sense of how bad things are. And at the risk of looking too intense or using scare tactics or whatever, let me just try to be as clear as I possibly can. I wrote the book called The Red Dragon. About the end times delusion that has taken over the church. All of it. This isn't about Todd Bentley or Rick Warren, whatever. It's everywhere. The Bible is clear that there will be in the last days there will be a great falling away. I don't believe that's some future thing. I believe we're fully fallen. And the Lord showed me the red dragon, this delusion, this spirit of Antichrist, this Leviathan that blinds the eyes. That gets you chasing something other than the cross. It might be something nice like foreign missions or orphans or something. But it becomes the point, you know, like your new gymnasium or your whatever. Or an experience or a manifestation or jumping up and down or something you call revival. When the Lord showed me the red dragon, soon after that, I'm beginning to understand that it's on everything. There's a charismatic delusion. There's a purpose-driven delusion. There's a Lutheran, Episcopalian, Southern Baptist, whatever. All of those things, taking the names of men, setting kings over us. All of these different ways that we go our own way. There's a narrow path. Even a degree to the left or the right is not on the narrow path. At some point, you leave the narrow path. If you veer off this way far enough, you're off the reservation. I began to see how widespread it was. And I didn't really have any understanding of how bad it really was, to tell you the truth. Until the Lord said, all of you went your own way. The heartbeat of the bride stopped. I'm like, Lord, how? And he showed me. See, remember when you did that? Remember when you chased that? About 2 years ago, when the Lord showed me the red dragon, the Lord said, there's nobody. There is nobody left. Me included. And then he started breaking it off of them. He started opening their eyes. He started getting the scales to fall off their eyes. What fell off Paul's eyes when he prayed? Scales. What has scales? A dragon. And he had a mean, snarly, kill Christians and believe it's God dragon. I cried and I cried and I cried and I said, Lord, how can this be? How can this be? The Lord said it had to happen. It had to go this way. She had to die. The bride had to die. The spiritual body of Christ had to follow the same path as the physical body of Christ. Prophetically, Jesus walked this out ahead of us. And we talk about the church being the body of Christ. Well, his physical body was whipped and beaten and shredded and torn and mocked and bled through the streets and crown of thorn and sign over the top, behold the King of the Jews. And died, sliced up into little pieces, and died. Went into a tomb for 3 days, and then the tomb bursts open, and big flash of bright white light, and out comes Jesus in a new body, in a restored, glorified body, ready to go to heaven, washed clean, without wrinkle or spot. Well, if we're the body of Christ, why should we expect that it'll be any different for us? Why should we expect some different path than the physical body of Christ had to go through? It says Jesus is not going to return except for a bride who is pure and spotless, dressed in white, without wrinkle. Well, this ugly thing, this sexually transmitted disease, AIDS-infested, greedy, fat, disgusting harlot of a bride that we got now can't possibly be what he's returning for. So she had to die. And she did. The spiritual body of Christ was sliced up into little pieces. 39,000 denominations, a new one every other day. More, the number of your gods has exceeded the number of your towns, America. Delusion, lukewarmness, spewed out of his mouth. Mocked by the world. Divided, shredded, bleeding in the streets, bleeding money everywhere, purse with holes in it, crown of thorns, sign over the top, behold the church of the King of the Jews, over every doorway, under every steeple. Bankrupt, dead, fat. And she died. Me included. And I don't know how long during those 3 days that Jesus was in the tomb it took for him to be brought back to life. It says that he would not suffer decay. So somehow that body didn't decay. And maybe whatever period of time it took, whether it was the last second before the white light flashed or a process through those 3 days, I don't know. But little cells here and there started to light up. And then connect. And then arteries and veins started flowing again. And this white light started to spread through that whole body. And then all of a sudden, whammo, the door bursts open, the light flashes, the guy's earthquake, whatever, and out steps a glorified Jesus. And that's what's happening to the bride right now. Little cells here and there are lighting up. Awakening, scales falling off their eyes. They're waking up, and veins and arteries are beginning to flow, and networks are being established. And the new wine that keeps her alive, that blood that flows, is moving. And it's not time yet for the door to burst open and her to come out fully dressed in white, but it's getting there. And she's going to be glorious. And when the dead skin cells are sloughed off, when the burial claws are left behind, when this new thing, this new wine, this new body, the new song comes out, the world will have never seen anything like it. And it won't look like anything we had before. And I want to encourage you to hang on. More on this from fellowshipofthemartyrs.com.